Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are talking about maybe the biggest shift we've seen in digital marketing in years, the move from search engines to answer engines. If you've been trying to figure out how to handle this new world of AI search, you are absolutely in the right place. So let's just get a sense of the scale here. Gartner is predicting that traditional search engine volume is going to drop by a whopping 25% by 2026. I mean, think about that. That's a quarter of all the traffic we've been fighting for, just shifting over to AI. This isn't some far-off futuristic thing. It's happening right now. Which, leads to a pretty scary question, right? When people start asking AI about your industry or your products or the problems that you solve, is your brand showing up? Or are you basically becoming invisible in this massive, growing new channel? Because let's be real, the playbook from the last decade isn't going to cut it for the next one. Okay, so how do we deal with this? Well, we've got a clear 5-part framework for you. We're going to start by really understanding the new landscape. Then we'll get into a practical playbook, how to assess where you stand, how to optimize your content, how to measure what actually matters now, and finally, how to iterate and scale the whole thing. All right, first up, understanding this new landscape. For what feels like forever, the whole game was about one thing, getting into those famous 10 blue links on Google. But we are past that tipping point. The game has totally changed. The new goal isn't just about ranking, it's about being the source that an AI engine trusts and chooses to build its answer around. And this right here is the absolute core of the shift. Traditional SEO, it was all about getting your page to rank so someone would click on it. Answer Engine Optimization, or AEO, is about getting your information selected to be featured inside the AI's answer. You're not just a link on the menu anymore. You are part of the meal itself. So if that's the new goal, how do we even measure it? We need a totally new metric, and that metric is AI share of voice. This has nothing to do with impressions or where you rank. It's about how much of the actual answer you own. It's about your brand's presence right there in the middle of the conversation where decisions are being made. Okay, that's the what. Now for the how. Let's dive into the playbook. And phase 1 is all about assessment. Look, before you can start optimizing anything, you have to get a really clear, honest picture of where your brand stands today. You just can't improve what you don't measure. So what should you be asking yourself? Well, your audit has to answer these questions. Just start by going to the big AI engines and asking the questions your customers would. Are you even getting mentioned? If you are, is it good? Is the sentiment positive? And, maybe most importantly, where are your competitors showing up when you're not? This audit is your starting line. All right, once you've got that baseline, you know where you stand, now it's time for phase 2, optimization. This is where we get our hands dirty. This is the tactical core of your AIO strategy, focusing on the real, actionable steps to make your content way more appealing to AI models. And we're going to break this down into 4 main pillars. First, you've got to structure your content for easy retrieval. Second, you need to build up what's called entity authority. Third, you got to nail the technical stuff. And fourth, you have to prioritize keeping your information fresh and deep. So let's dig into that first one, structure. See, an AI doesn't read a web page like a person does. It breaks it down, it parses it into little chunks of information. That means every single section of your content needs to be written so it could stand on its own as an answer. Clean headings, FAQ sections, you're basically spoon-feeding the AI perfect little answer nuggets. Aja Frost from HubSpot put it perfectly. She said, the first sentence should just answer the question. No fluff. Because that's what answer engines want, that quick, immediate validation that they've found the right info. If you adopt this answer-first approach, your chances of getting cited just go way, way up. Okay, pillar number 2, building entity authority. Now this is a big one, and it's more than just backlinks. An entity is just how an AI understands your brand as a concept. It looks for signals all over the web that you're an authority. So we're talking about earned media, mentions on places like Reddit or LinkedIn, consistent info everywhere. It's about your overall reputation, not just who links to you. Okay, so you've done all this optimization work, but how do you know if it's actually working? That brings us to maybe the trickiest part, measurement. And it's tricky because we're in a zero-click world. If users get the answer right there in the chat, they might not click to your site. So your old metrics, they don't tell the full story anymore. And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If you get all this amazing visibility inside an AI answer, but it doesn't result in a click, how in the world do you prove to your boss that it was worth it? How do you prove its value? And the answer is you need a brand new dashboard. Forget what you know. We're now tracking things like citation share. Literally, how often are you cited? We're tracking sentiment score. Is the AI talking about you in a positive way? And we're tracking branded search lift. Are more people Googling your brand name directly? This is how you connect the dots and prove the value. And here's another really, really important thing about measurement. You can't just look at one AI. Your visibility on ChatGPT could be completely different from what it is on Perplexity or on Gemini. Every model is different. So a real AEO strategy means you've got to be monitoring and optimizing across all the major platforms. All right, which brings us to our last phase, iterate and scale. It is so important to get this. AAEO is not a set it and forget it project. It's an ongoing discipline, a continuous loop, just like SEO has always been. This space is changing so fast, your strategy has to be a living, breathing thing. You know, another huge piece of this is that it can't live in a silo. This is not just a job for your SEO team anymore. Real success with AO happens when your content team, your SEO folks, your digital PR, and your product marketing teams are all on the same page, working from the same playbook, reinforcing the same message. So let's just wrap this all up into your AEO playbook. It's simple, really. First, you assess where you stand. Then you optimize your content for AI retrieval. You measure your success using these new KPIs. And finally, you iterate constantly based on what that data is telling you. That's the loop. That's the whole game. And I really want to leave you with this one last thought. For so long, search marketing was kind of about trying to game the system, right? Finding the loopholes in the algorithm. Well, that era is over. Done. In the world of AI, you can't game it. You can only win by being the most authoritative, the most helpful, the clearest source of information. The game isn't about gaming the system anymore. It's about earning the citation.